So in the previous slide, we did, discussed about the rebellion in the countryside, and we also talked about the different set of leaders, and we are aware by this point of time the role played by the talukdars and the landlords and the exploitative role basically, and how the peasants they rose in rebellion. We also talked about the tribal peasantry class, how they lost their source of livelihood, and they followed a different strategy altogether. So, in continuation with that, let us talk about the content here and finish it up. The tribal peasantry they interpreted the message of Mahatma Gandhi and the idea of Swaraj in a different way. If we talk about the tribal peasantry class, so they interpreted the very message of Gandhi in a different way, and definitely because they had lost their source of livelihood, they were also irritated, they were also agitated. So, if you talk about the Godam Hills of Andhra Pradesh, a militant guerrilla movement spread in the early 1920s. So, you talk about the guerrilla movement, and the militant guerrilla movement means I'm talking about something associated with the use of violence, and anything militant, anything violent was something which was not associated with Mahatma Gandhi, and definitely not a form of struggle that even Congress could approve and Congress could promote at that point of time. So, here, like in the other forest regions, the colonial government had closed large forest tracts, preventing the people from entering the forest. So, the people were not allowed to enter the forest to graze their cattle or to collect any source of raw material or the fuel woods or the fruits. So, this actually agitated the people of the hilly areas, that is the tribal population I'm talking about. And they were affected because they lost their source of livelihood, point number A. Point number B is they also lost their traditional rights. So they also lost their traditional rights, they lost their source of livelihood, and this is the way, how they realize that their very existence is something which was being questioned, in the sense like, they have been associated with the forest cover of the land, and that was their home. So they were irritated, they were agitated, because they not only had lost their source of livelihood but their traditional rights also. So the government began forcing them to contribute bigger for road building. The hill people revolted because the government was not allowing them on one side to enter the forest cover, and onto the other side was actually asking them to be involved in road building. And road building means a form of begar, that means no payment was to be made for that kind of labor. And definitely this is something which irritated the people. And then you have Alluri Sitaram Raju. He is leading the movement, and he claimed to have variety of special powers, and he could make correct astrological predictions and heal people, and could even survive the bullet shots. So this is one personality who is emerging, Alluri Sitaram Raju, and he claimed to have he claimed to have some special powers with him. And people believed him. He claimed to actually correct make correct astrological predictions. He could heal people through his strategies, and even could survive the bullet shots. So people were highly captivated by Alluri Sitaram Raju, and people started believing, and especially the rebels, that yes, he was one representation of God on earth, he was one incarnation of God on earth. So this is how Alluri Sitaram Raju played a very important role in actually, leading the rebellion. He also talked about the greatness of Mahatma Gandhi, and said that he was inspired by the non-cooperation movement and absolutely persuaded people to wear khadi and give up drinking. So he was also one follower of Gandhi ji, and but with a different perspective, with a different mindset, because he's talking about the use of force at one point of time. Then only India could have gained independence. But then he is inspired by the non-cooperation movement. He is persuading people to wear khadi and give up drinking. At the same time, he asserted that yes, India could only be liberated by the usage of force, okay, and not non-violence. So his concept of applying force is very, very different. And so he is leading the, the population, the rebels, in the Gudam Hills, and the Gudam rebels, they attacked the police stations, attempted to kill the British officials, and carried on guerrilla warfare for achieving Swaraj. So the strategies are being followed. Okay, they attacked the police stations, they attempted to kill the British officials, and also carried on guerrilla warfare for achieving Swaraj. Finally, he was captured and executed in 1924, and this is how the movement also died down, a kind of death, and because it turned out to be violent as well. And this is just a figure to display about the Chauri Chaura incident, and this is the reason as to why the non-cooperation movement was suspended. And Chauri Chaura is a place in Uttar Pradesh, and basically in Gorakhpur district of Uttar Pradesh. And this incident turned out to be very much violent, and one police station was set on fire, and actually forcing Gandhiji to call off the movement. You can find more about the Chauri Chaura incident and the Chauri Chaura movement leading to the suspension of the non-cooperation movement for your own understanding.